Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for making the time today for this meeting. And we're going to have these all hands sessions periodically to make sure everyone stays fully informed. And I'd just like to start by saying how much we appreciate everyone's patience and flexibility in adapting to a changing workplace, laboratory, campus, and classrooms as this situation evolves. And UMCES' greatest strength has been our community. And I would encourage everyone to continually reaching out and checking in to connect with your colleagues, students, staff, and friends as we enter an increasingly challenging moment. Teleworking and isolation should not mean desolation. We must stay connected with each other, retain the remarkable collegial environment that makes UMCES such a special place to be. So I'm going to start just with an overview of what's going on in the state, then describe some of the activities across the system, and then what we're doing within our institution. So as of a few minutes ago, there were more than 220 confirmed cases in the Washington region, and there has been one death in Maryland. One undergraduate student returning from study abroad in Spain has tested positive for the COVID-19. That student is now recovering at home, and the home is out of state, so the student did not enter the state before heading home. This fight against the global pandemic truly is a race against time to suppress the effects, and it's critical that we take action now. Some of the things which are going on at the state, we've been very fortunate to have the guidance of Governor Hogan, who has surrounded himself with an excellent COVID-19 response team. And Governor Hogan has stated very clearly that he will take whatever actions are necessary to protect the health of millions of Marylanders and save thousands of lives. Across the USM, we're working closely with our colleagues and the Chancellor's office directly. And at this time, I can think of no better leader than the Chancellor we have today, who is a noted academic physician. Not surprisingly, he is also excellent at crisis management, and we're truly grateful for the calm leadership of Jay Perman. Our Board of Regents also has heavy representation from the health sciences area, and you may have followed in the press today the outcomes of their special meeting last night. We are also very lucky to have the leadership at the University of Maryland, Baltimore, with the very noted academic physician, Dr. Bruce Gerald. He has access to some of the world's best medical guidance from his own faculty at UMB and their network across the US and internationally. And so, some of the background of our decision-making. We're working very closely with our colleagues at the USM and heeding the Chancellor's office guidance. We are also holding 3 meetings per week with all of the 12 institutional presidents and campus leadership. The Chancellor remains in constant contact with the Board of Regents and the Governor's office. So our response currently is we are still open, and rest assured that our first priority will always be the health of our community. Since the end of March the 13th, we have gone entirely to a teleworking environment for all but a few essential personnel to take care of facilities, animal health and cell line cultures, vital research, and maintaining equipment. We are assessing continuously to this rapidly changing situation, and we are working on these issues round the clock. We are very fortunate to have a dedicated, knowledgeable and committed team across UMCES helping us navigate and respond to this complex and unprecedented situation. They are fielding daily, sometimes hourly meetings with various internal and external constituents as issues arrive. And I would like to thank my particular members of the team, the communications team that's meeting daily under the leadership of Dave and Amy. So many thanks to everyone who's contributing to that. As you know, we don't have the usual institutional structure, such as provost. So Lynn Wren and Larry are both crossing many of these boundaries and sitting in many meetings. Lisa Ross in HR, the lab directors, and certainly Kurt and his IT team are all working 24/7. So today you're going to be receiving updates from our Vice President for Administration, Lynn Wren, who will be speaking about the coordination across UMCES. We'll then turn to Vice President for Education, Larry Sanford, who will give you an update on our graduate education. Next, we'll have our Chief of Staff, Dave Namazi, who will give an update on the legislative session, which has just concluded. And finally, we're going to end with some directions on how you can remain engaged with UMCES and be receiving our updates swiftly. So with those few comments, I'd like to turn to Lynn Wren, who has been working about 22 hours a day during the last couple of weeks. So Lynn, would you like to give us some comments about the system and how we're interfacing with them?
Yes, thank you, President Goodwin, and hello, UMCES community. I want to first express my personal gratitude to all of you for your patience and collaboration during these challenging times. Communication coordination at UMCES and the University System of Maryland has truly been taken to a new level, and I would like to take just a minute to describe those efforts. The University System Vice Presidents and Vice Chancellors meet by conference call 2 to 3 times per week. I participate and represent our university in those discussions and updates, which currently are largely centered around ongoing operations, quick implementation of telework policies, student life, and education. We also then meet with our laboratory directors and associate directors by conference call at least 2 to 3 times per week to provide information updates from the university system meetings and to ensure our continuing operations plans. Their efforts to implement directions from the governor and the University System of Maryland office have been remarkable given this rapidly changing environment. UMCES, as President Goodwin mentioned earlier, has also implemented our crisis communication team meeting calls, which are led by Dave Namazi and Amy Pelsinski. At least 2 times per week, this team meets, and the team includes our laboratory associate directors, our HR director, our VP for education, and graduate student council representatives. Lastly, our most recent understanding around grants management during these times is that federal funding agencies are in process of developing policies, but are not quite specifically detailed at this moment. NSF did publish this week a COVID-19 FAQ document for proposers and awardees, and you can find it quite easily on the nsf.gov website. Thank you for your attention, and now I would like to invite Dr. Larry Sanford, UMCES VP for Education, to make a few remarks.
Thank you, Lynn. Well, first of all, hello everybody. It's good to see so many faces. The first thing I want to do is to thank the people who have been helping me out, specifically Amy Griffin and Denise Yost and Tom Miller and Kurt Flores and Christina Gaethel and Ben Frey, and the whole administrative team have been very helpful. And this situation really is changing fast, but we're staying on top of it. As you probably all saw, courses for the rest of the semester in the entire university system will be online. So we're not coming back to physical classrooms for the rest of the semester. We are, as UMCES, we're in a particularly good position for this relative to our sister campuses because we've been teaching at least partially online for a long time. And we're accredited for online education, so there are no worries there. Classes will not resume until March 30th because we are on the College Park schedule, and they have extended their spring break through next week. Let's see. However, no, not however. So classes start March 30th. Most of our faculty have indicated that they're going to be using Zoom, but I'm counting on all of the individual instructors to get in touch with their classes, especially students who are at other campuses, to make sure that they're ready and know what's going to be happening starting on March 30th. The semester has not been extended to our knowledge, which means that we're all losing a week of instruction. So I'm going to ask all of the instructors to look at their syllabi and adjust them accordingly and talk it over with their classes. We want to be sure that everybody who's participating has access to the technology that they need to be able to successfully participate. We've gotten very good feedback from most folks, but if you haven't let us know if you need help, please do so sooner rather than later. One important announcement is that we are not going to have an in-person commencement this year. We are going to confer degrees, no problems about that. So if you're coming up to be finishing this spring, you'll still get your degree. And we're working with the Graduate Student Council and the Senate on arrangements for alternate future celebrations. Let's see. Also, committee meetings and student defenses will proceed as planned, but they're all going to take place remotely. And you'll be getting further instruction about that. We are establishing an educational resources webpage. It'll be a link directly from the UMCES COVID-19 webpage that's at the top of the homepage. And please check it frequently. We're going to have an FAQ section. We're going to have resources for teaching and for learning online. You should know, professors, please don't assign anything between now and the beginning of classes, all right? Don't grade anything. Wait until classes actually start to assign any more work. Let's see, the last thing I really want to say is how thankful I am to everybody and just to everybody be patient with each other when we get classes started again. Although we've been doing this for a long time, there's going to be a little bit of roughness around the edges from teaching at home and taking classes at home. And we're all in this together, we're all working together, and we're going to get through it, and it'll be great. Thank you. And now I'd like to pass it over to Dave Namazi.
Thanks, Larry. And thanks everyone for participating today. We really greatly appreciate it, and we appreciate everything everyone's been going through and everyone's patience throughout this. So I'll just reiterate that point. What I've been asked to do today is really at least share the good news of the General Assembly that took place this year, albeit a shortened General Assembly. In fact, each year it's considered a 10-week session in Maryland, all that occurs all at one point from early January through early April. And this is the first time that they've had to cut a General Assembly session short since the Civil War, when there were actually warring factions going around Maryland, and they felt it was unsafe to be convening in Annapolis. That was the last time that they had to cut short a session. So you can imagine the challenge it was for those legislators to try to to essentially lose about 3 weeks worth of work. What they decided to really focus on is what they are constitutionally mandated to do, which is to pass a budget for the state of Maryland. And within that budget, it was very good to the University System of Maryland. Overall, the whole system-wide had an increase of over $80 million. Much of that is for workforce development as well as a cost of living increase. So this is really excellent news for everyone. And the governor puts forward a budget. The legislature can only cut a budget. This year, there was a small cut to the governor's budget for the USM of about $5 million, and that is equivalent to about $100,000 to UMCES. And that would be sort of our cut to our increase, if you will. So really, that's a very strong position for the university's system of Maryland and for UMCES. So that's really excellent news. And then I'm particularly pleased to mention to everyone that within the governor's capital budget was the Chesapeake Analytical Collaborative Building, which we had been trying to get for a number of years. It made it into the governor's budget, and the legislature also passed the governor's capital budget with that building intact. That building will be at our Chesapeake Biological Laboratory. So we're really excited to the fact that we're going to have a building expansion in the coming years at UMCES. We haven't had a building in the capital budget for about 7 or 8 years. So this is really, really terrific news. So with that, I'm going to stop there. You know, it is great to see everyone's faces on here, and just seeing a lot of friends that I haven't seen in a long time, and a lot of colleagues. So I'm particularly excited about just seeing these faces, and I'm going to pass it back to Dr. Goodwin.
Okay, well, thank you, Dave. And as usual, Dave underestimated his contribution. There was a reason we got the building this year, and it's really thanks to Dave for all of the effort you put in talking to staffers, people in the governor's office, over the last 12 months or so. So that was a heavy lift, and on behalf of UMCES, thank you for your achievements there.
It's a very strong team that we have, Peter, and it goes from the lab level all the way up, plus other colleagues within the university system of Maryland and the chancellor. Right,
and of course our capital plan. So no, but still, Dave, it does take someone to do the legwork. So that's terrific. So just in conclusion, I just want to reiterate our priority is to protect the health of the UMCES community. And we truly are facing an unprecedented challenge. Within UMCES, we're committed to world-class research and providing an extraordinary experience for our graduate students. So whether you manage our facilities, whether you're an FRA, a staff member, a student or faculty, it's this teamwork across UMCES that is really a hallmark of who we are. But these are uncharted waters, but I just want everyone to realize that we fully understand the magnitude of the impacts of the directives that are coming from the state and some of the decisions we're having to take to interpret those directives. But your health, the health of your family, and the health of the communities that you live in are of paramount importance. So even though you're working from home and perhaps completing your coursework online, please take the time to reach out regularly to your supervisor, your PI, your colleagues, if there's anything you need, because we will find a way through all of this together. And we want you to know that we are here for you. So if there are issues that come up that we can assist with, please don't hesitate to let us know. And there are ways that we can help. The Maryland Unites webpage that the governor has just put up is a wonderful way where you can go and see how you can help Marylanders volunteer to assist their neighbors. So I would draw your attention to that. For our next steps, we're considering the best way to communicate with everyone and keep everyone updated and informed. As Larry and others alluded to, thanks to the efforts of Amy and Dave, if you look at our main webpage, there's a banner across the top with coronavirus, and we are keeping that updated as the situation develops. We are also opening an email where you can share questions or concerns regarding the crisis. The email will be engage@umces.edu, and we'll be sending out details on that. We will respond to your questions, and if the questions are broad and of relevance to our community at large, we will be putting out a response on the web page without attribution. Some questions will be more focused around an individual. We will get back to you, but I would urge patience because many of the questions which are coming up have many ramifications. And one of the things the Chancellor has asked us to do is to be as consistent as possible across the system. But we will endeavor to find those questions and keep you informed. The other thing which we would also ask, if you have innovative ideas that will help sustain our community spirit through this crisis, please put your ideas into that same email. And in closing, I would just like to highlight what the Governor has said this week. The actions being taken may seem extreme and frightening, but they are also absolutely necessary to save lives of thousands of Marylanders and hundreds of thousands of Americans. If we rise to meet this challenge together, we will get through this. And this truly is a special moment in history. So thank you for your time and attention. I hope you found this all-hands meeting useful, whether you're listening to it live or following up afterwards. And I'd just like to reiterate Professor Sanford's comment. Please be patient and let's please be nice to each other and maintain the wonderful atmosphere which we all enjoy at UMCES. So with that, I'll thank you for your attention and please stay tuned. We will be continuing to keep you updated.